All right, so there's not a ton of new here in chapter 41. Pretty much getting a description of Leviathan, which raises the major question of what even is Leviathan? Nobody knows. That's the short answer. Nobody knows. The only thing I really have to add here is some of what people think it is. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? So we're going to do the description here. And you tell me if it sounds like any of the things that people think it might be. Here are some candidates. The most popular candidate is an alligator or a crocodile. Okay? Or a whale, or a python, or a dragon. What's going on here if it's a dragon, right? You know, we're back to the conversation about is Behemoth a dinosaur? Is Leviathan a dinosaur? What even are dinosaurs? Are dinosaurs and dragons somehow like the same thing? Like, what's happening here? A serpent that encompasses the earth, a gigantic fish, a sea monster. I think this goes back to the idea of a tannin, the Hebrew tannin. It could be an allegory that these are really just like the amalgamation of all these different sea creatures. It's not really referring to one in general. And this could be the form of the devil. Take your pick. What it seems like to me is if you think it's a real creature, none of the candidates that are offered to us that we think might explain it actually match. Okay, especially when it gets into like breathing fire out of its mouth. Okay. So far as I know, I don't think they say dinosaurs did that. That sounds like a dragon. If it's metaphorical, right? Like, what are we talking about? Why is God talking about some sort of metaphorical symbol? Okay, that creates this other issue. So there's all different sorts of issues here with this Leviathan. I don't have the answer. The Leviathan in general refers to some sort of primordial chaotic chthonic being. Okay, I don't know where it is. Maybe it's still out there. A lot of the ocean is unexplored. Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make any supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. Scales? You know, whales don't have scales. What are we talking about here? It's a reptile. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Okay, that's not a crocodile. That's not a crocodile. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. You know, one thing I read is that some people think this may be the celestial dragon of that is responsible for the eclipses. In Indian traditions, it's Rahu and Ketu. Rahu for the solar eclipse, Ketu for the lunar eclipse. I believe Rahu has the serpent head and Ketu has the serpent body. So that's, that's all sorts of interesting exploration there, especially if we take what Job says about biblical cosmology to be true. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame go out of his mouth, and his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned unto joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together; they are firm in themselves; they cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, so as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the harbigeron. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. That's pretty powerful, right? Iron is straw to you. The arrow cannot make him flee. Slingstones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Shaking of a spear. Shakespeare. Shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp-pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Okay, also, why it's probably not an alligator or a crocodile. This thing lives in the sea. Alligators and crocodiles live in like rivers or something, right? They don't live in the sea. Unless you want to get like super technical about the language here, which I don't have it in front of me. And I don't know it. I know what it says in English. Upon earth there is not his like. Who is made without fear? He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride. That's interesting. Who are the children of pride? Well, I got you here. Why don't we just look it up? I mean, when I first read that, I was like, oh, that just means all of us. But maybe that means something else. I go to this pulpit commentary. Let me read that. He beholdeth all high things. He looks without fear on everything that is high and great. Nothing alarms him. Nothing disturbs his equanimity. He is a king over all the children, literally sons of pride. He feels himself superior to all other animals that come within his kin. They may be sons of pride, but he has more to be proud of than the proudest of them. Ordinarily, the lion poses as the king of beasts, but here he is, as it were, deposed and relegated into the second position, the crocodile being exalted in his place. From different points of view, there are several great beasts which might be regarded as the lords of the animal creation. I don't understand why it's saying that this is dominion over other animals. Children of pride. Let me consult another one here. This is kind of... Yeah, it just says he's the proudest of all the animals. I don't know if I agree with this. I'll have to think about that some more. That's enough.